and welcome to the UFred10 podcast series. If this is the first time you're joining us, my name is Sarah Chesson, and I manage the Marketing and Communications Department here at UFred. Today on the podcast, we're pleased to be sitting down with the president of the University of Fredericton, Don Roy. Don has been an innovator his entire life. His career has been widespread and varied, spanning 20 years of founding companies in real estate, business, construction, land development, restaurant industries, and also working in the transportation industry. It was while Don was completing his executive MBA in a traditional university setting and experiencing the difficulties of continuing your education while running a business and raising a young family that the concept for UFred was born. Today, as we celebrate our 10th anniversary, we're excited to be speaking with Don about UFred's growth over the past 10 years and to hear what his vision for the future of the university is. Welcome, Don. Could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Sarah. I started my business career after finishing my undergrad degree in commerce from Dalhousie University, and then went on to found a number of different companies in the real estate business, construction, land development, and transportation, restaurant business, and continued on with this for about 20 years. Things changed for me around then. I was actually on a flight with Sun Ed for an executive MBA at Queen's and decided that I'd have a look at it. I ended up enrolling in the EMBA at St. Mary's University and spent the next 2 years as a single parent, a very active businessman, going to school and spending about 20 hours a week studying. And it was absolutely grueling because every Friday and Saturday, or every second Friday and Saturday, you would spend the day and the evening in a classroom. And to do that as an entrepreneur and as a father was very difficult to manage. Upon graduating, I actually graduated just about the same time as the McKenna government introduced the Degree Granting Act, which allowed private universities to apply for accreditation in New Brunswick. It was also the same time that the e-learning industry was developing. And an opportunity presented itself in the late 90s to become involved with Canada's first online university. The problem at that time, however, was there were many e-learning companies starting up, and as a result, there were a lot of failures. So it turned out that the initial impact of e-learning was not favorable, and no one seemed to realize that we were not an online company, we were not an e-learning company, we're a university that just chose to have a different type of delivery.
So it sounds like your personal experience really led into the founding of UFred, but what was it that really kind of got the concept off of the ground, would you say then?
For the concept, it was to imagine at that time, I was still freshly scarred from attending the bricks and mortar institution and trying to maintain a lifestyle. And the concept that you could actually get an equivalent degree and all the benefits that come with an MBA, that you could get that without the disruption in your life, it was so appealing to me. And I thought, this absolutely has to happen.
So some of the challenges that you faced, you talked about that a little bit already, but what were some of the other challenges really to getting it off the ground?
First of all, there's an accreditation process, and that process itself is very difficult to navigate through, but you can't even get into the process without having raised the capital. And it's a very expensive proposition. The province requires a certain amount of capital to ensure that there are no disasters in the initial stages. I tried to raise capital in New Brunswick because it would be a New Brunswick university and was unsuccessful. I then ventured across Canada, still unsuccessful. I finally went abroad, and there I did receive several offers. It was a very interesting proposal to a number of people. So I got the opportunity then to discuss with various investors the possibilities, what we could create, and finally found an investor that was very much aligned with how we perceived it. And we had quite similar values. It was a Norwegian investor.
That's great. So now that UFred is established, what do you think is most unique about it? Why do you think we're drawing so many people in?
Well, compared to the traditional bricks and mortars university, everything about this is unique. I think the fundamental difference from my perception is that we view our students as clients. And as such, we don't tell them what we need. We're interested in what they need. They deserve the best customer service. They deserve the best product line. And I think that's very different from viewing a student as a
So when you take a look at how UFred's grown over the last 10 years, what do you think was the biggest surprise for you in terms of its trajectory?
Boy, again, it was a journey filled with surprises. It's really difficult to pull one out of the air. I would think that when we started, we really wanted to prove that you could have an online degree that was equivalent to a degree that was granted in a traditional institution. And that was our goal in creating this content. And actually it's two surprises. My first was that, given our students' feedback over the years, that we actually produced a degree I believe to be superior to most bricks and mortars institutions. But the biggest surprise out of that was that other things formed online, the relationships, the network, the friendships, the way things developed online. I had the pleasure of being at a few different meet and greet events where we get to watch students that have worked together collaboratively for years, and they meet for the first time, but they're meeting as best friends. And this was a big surprise to me that these things could actually develop online, and we're hearing that many of the relationships continue on as alumni.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch the community develop, that's for sure. So if you had to pick a standout moment from your time at UFred, what do you think it would be then?
I think I would have to take it to the academic side. We are probably the most highly reviewed university in Canada. We've been under a microscope since the beginning. And around our sixth or seventh Maritime Provinces Higher Education Review. And these reviews are comprised of a panel of public university business school deans or professors. So the reviews, the first 6 or 7, were very intense and highly critical, and we needed to do a lot of work in order to comply with their conditions. And all of a sudden, during our whatever 7th or 8th or 6th review, we were told by the chairperson of the review, you guys really know what you're doing. My advice is to MPHEC is to let you run. And we got a chair at the table. And this was being, not that we've ever set ourselves up to be judged by the public institutions, but this was the public system saying, you guys are doing everything right and you deserve a seat at our table.
That's great. So moving forward, how do you see education and teaching at UFred evolving over the coming years?
The answer to that is simple, the execution, not so much. I see it's really pushing the boundaries of advanced learning technologies to create a program, degrees, certificates, whatever any educational product is, to create something that's even more engaging than it is right now and more streamlined, transfer of knowledge being at its maximum possible, and creating not only a program using this technology that gives the quality, but also one that becomes more scalable. The globe is very hungry for quality educational programs, but they need to be accessible and they need to be affordable. And of course, everybody knows there's the internet and there are blogs, but the problem with all of this education is it doesn't come with a credential from an accredited institution. And if someone wants to translate, for example, business knowledge into something that they can use practically, it's very important that it comes with an accreditation and with a designation.
Mm-hmm. So obviously we're quite proud to be celebrating our 10-year anniversary, as I'm sure you are as well. But what would you say makes you particularly proud about being a member of the UFred team? Is there anything specific that you think UFred should be particularly proud of as well?
Well, I think the answer is right in the question. I'm very proud to be a member of the UFred team. I don't know of anyone that is not absolutely devoted to UFred, that it's not their cause in as much as a job. We're creating something that did not exist before, and we all can feel ownership for that. So I think there is no manual on how to build an online university, and we're doing that, and it's due to every person that's on this team.
Thanks for joining us today, Don. We really appreciate it.